Good morning, everyone. Was was it audible to you? Morning, everyone.
Morning.
Participants who are the participants request them to mute their mic and on their applause. I request any participants who are present over here, please switch off your camera and mute mute your mic and on the camera. I request every participant. The voice is audible.
Yes, I can hear you. देखो तुमको फॉरवर्ड कर
Good morning, everyone. Aprajita
Good.
Banerjee from Chapter Varanasi, moderator of the workshop. At Shrikant, the artist and the film coordinator. Daman as the technical host. I request every participant present over here to turn on their cameras.
Hello. Hello. A very warm welcome to you, ma'am. I would request you to just kindly do can you please just speak something so that we can ensure that the audio is coming fine?
Hello. Hello, Adarsh, can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
I think right now, Bharti ma'am's voice is not coming. I think,
Uh, is
okay.
her video on? I can't see her.
Yes, video is there. Yeah, I think she has to be unmuted. So,
Uh, I can't. We have to ask her to put on the video right now. She's mute
video
and video is also off.
Video is on, Sharmada ma'am. Only the audio is has to be unmuted. Video I
Okay.
can see.
I can't see her video.
I think you'll have to change the layout to sidebar, then you might be
No,
able to see.
that's where on the sidebar I'm seeing her name only. I mean, it just says B, but there's no video. I can see you. I can see Vani, but so we have to make sure that she's seen on the live. Because
Yes,
if you can see her and I can't, I don't know.
I think that has to be unmuted. Yeah. Now she has unmuted. So,
क्या हो रहा है?
Yeah, now I
yes,
can see
ma'am.
her. Good morning, ma'am.
गुड मॉर्निंग।
Now I can see you.
अच्छा, अब सुनाई दे रहा है? आर यू एबल टू हियर
हाँ
मी? ओके,
हाँ मैम.
यस। Uh, will you be asking me questions or do I just speak?
No, ma'am. Adarsh will ask you questions, and like the first two questions are quite elaborate, so you can speak on them for about 10-15 minutes.
All right.
Okay? Yeah. Adarsh, are we going to get a go ahead from tech to start?
Yes, ma'am. I think once we get that go ahead, we'll start the session.
Okay.
Sharmada ma'am, we have got the go ahead, so we can start now.
Okay. So, are we live now or
Yes, ma'am, we can go ahead now.
Namaskar. A very good morning to everyone. Namaskar, ma'am. Uh, a very warm welcome to the second day of the Anubhav series, where we have so many delegates joining us, and welcome to all our viewers. इन आज की श्रृंखला में हमारे साथ मोहिनी अट्टम के विख्यात गुरु श्रीमती भारती शिवाजी जी उपस्थित हैं। तो उनके साथ हम आज बातचीत करेंगे और अ, आदर्श हमको उनके साथ बातचीत करने में हेल्प करेंगे। नमस्कार गुरुजी और आपका बहुत बहुत स्वागत।
Namaskar.
आदर्श।
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, Sharmada ma'am. Once again, a very good morning to all the viewers. I, Adarsh Golcha, welcome you all to the second day of Anubhav series interactive session. Today, we are privileged to have with us Padma Shri Bharti Shivaji, a rare combination of performer, choreographer, author, and guru. Padma Shri Srimati Bharti Shivaji's name has today become synonymous with Mohiniyattam. She is the founder of Center for Mohiniyattam, a dance academy promoting the art form, and the co-author of two books, Art of Mohiniyattam and Mohiniyattam. Srimati Bharti Shivaji was awarded the Sangeet Natak Academy Award in 1999, the Padma Shri in 2004. She is also a recipient of the Sahitya Kala Parishad Samman, the Lasya Lakshmi title from the Kunchan Nambiar Memorial Trust, Kerala, and the Nritya Chudamani title from the Krishna Gana Sabha, Chennai. She also won the Nisha Gandhi Puraskaram of the Government of Kerala in 2017. We heartwarmingly welcome you, ma'am.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
And now, with your permission, I would like to start with the series of questions. The first question being on your enriching journey. So, I would request you to kindly share with us your enriching journey till now.
It gives me a great pleasure to share my experience and my views on Mohiniyattam and my journey as a dancer. And I really thank SPIC MACAY for giving me this opportunity, which has been there for many, many years. I started my association with SPIC MACAY some almost 33 decades, I think, perhaps even more. I was born in a family of performing artists. I would say not directly that I was influenced by that, but I grew up in a family where my mother is a musician, a Carnatic musician, and so I started learning Bharatanatyam and born in a little small temple town of Tanjore district in Tamil Nadu, where after which we came to Jamshedpur, and my upbringing was in Jamshedpur. My father had a job in Tata's, and so there I started with Bharatanatyam training. And after the Bharatanatyam, I came to Delhi and settled in Delhi after my marriage. And then I got to see more of the classical styles that were being performed and taught. And so that was a great eye opener for me to even know that there were so many classical dance styles in our country. And that is how I got to come to learn, continue my Bharatanatyam from Guru Lalita Shastri from Kalakshekara, who also was settled in Delhi. And I continued with her for many years. And after which I got interested I had a short, brief experience in learning Odissi music, and so I was also singing for Odissi dancers. And after which I even started learning to train in Odissi from Guru Trinath Mahavina and Guru Kelucharan Mahapatra. At that time, Guruji used to come to Delhi, and that is how I got to even familiarize with the whole process of how Odissi was resurrected, and it was a wonderful experience to be associated with this dance form. And it was just then that I happened to see a performance of Indrani Rahman, in which she was presenting an evening of Indian classical dances. And beginning with Bharatanatyam, and then she did a bit of Kuchipudi, a bit of Odissi, and finally she did Mohiniyattam. And that was the first time I even got to know that such an art form existed. I was not even familiar with this. I had not even known that this dance form existed. And it was so fascinating. I was absolutely mesmerized when I saw her. She had a beautiful stage presence and in that white and gold costume that was absolutely, so enchanting. And I managed to go backstage and ask her where she had learned this dance from. And she said she had gone to Kerala, and one Guru Chinnamuamma with whom she learned, and from whom she learned, and then she continued to perform all these times. And I just gave up the idea because who would ever go to Kerala? And I was totally unfamiliar with that part of the country, and I have been brought up in the north, and I had no idea at all. I just gave up the idea. But then I was very determined. Somewhere the deep desire to learn Mohiniyattam was very, very prevalent. And so a very good friend of mine, he called up to say that there is a teacher, there is somebody who practices Mohiniyattam in Delhi. Maybe you can go and learn from her. And I jumped at the idea, and I just went and met her. And she's Radha Madhar, who's also learned from Kerala Kalamandalam, a very premier institution in Kerala. And it was so wonderful to learn the basic steps, the few steps that I learned from her. But I that got me thinking, where could this, why are the movements going repetitive? And why are they limited? Why it's not very, very, established like Bharatanatyam. And so I was wondering, I kept asking her. So she was saying, this is all I learned, and if you want to learn, you learn this, or you just give up. I
Okay.
too many questions she was not very happy about. So I used to just ask myself, how does one, continue and improve upon this dance form, and how does one, the repertoire, everything seems to be so limited and repetitive. But one evening, I was at the India International Center. I was performing the little few items that I learned, Mohiniyattam. And so at that time, Kamala Devi Chattopadhyay was the then chairman of Sangeet Natak Academy. And she was at the India International Center. She was also I think she was the president or the vice president of India International Center. So she was just coming down, and then she opened the door and saw in the auditorium a Mohiniyattam performance. And so that is how she just called me the next day to her office at the Sangeet Natak Academy, and said that she was very concerned about this dance form. She said, I have been wanting to do something for this dance form, and somewhere it is not very, very, it needs to be propagated and it needs to be established. And so, if I offer you a scholarship from SNA, are you willing to take it? Accept. I was so thrilled because I was absolutely in a different world altogether, because I never expected such an offer to come from her, a person of her stature.
Yeah.
And so I was so fortunate to then accept it. I accepted her offer, and that is how my journey in Mohiniyattam started. And she introduced me to Kavalam Narayana Panikkar, a very well-known playwright and a great authority on Indian classical in the Sanskrit theatre. Sanskrit theatre. He was a very a very well-known personality and an authority on Kerala's folk arts. And so he was a playwright, he was a lyricist, he was a poet, and he was a multifaceted person with so many qualities. And I was wondering that, how am I going to work with a theatre person? And but then I did not know what was coming, what was going to be given to me by this great person. And so my journey to Kerala started, and that is how I was literally, I thought I was in Alice in Wonderland, because this Kerala was such a place where it offered so many dance traditions, the classical dance traditions, and then the dance drama traditions, and then the proto dramatic, the folk, and then the ritualistic dance forms, the recreational dance forms. There were so many to see and interact with. So that is how my whole he used to discuss with me, because I don't come from Kerala. I don't I come from Tamil Nadu. I was born and brought up in Tamil Nadu. I'm more familiar with that culture. But here the Kerala culture was so different, absolutely different from what I was. And so it was very important that Kavalam sir felt that I should first familiarize with the culture of this region. So that is how he introduced me to all those, traditions. And I felt Kerala has so much to offer, so much to offer in terms of all these dance forms and dance traditions that they have. And so, why, how, and why not we draw upon these? And that is how I was very inspired to, for a few visits in Kerala, I just uh, went around. I just went around, and Kavalam sir introduced me to all these, traditions, the guru, and I had a interaction with the, all the gurus there, the brief introductions, and to the extent that I, as a dancer, what I would like to draw upon these traditions, I did, and it was very necessary to understand that. Very, very important to understand the deep culture of that land. It was very, very intense. My whole journey in the beginning of my journey as a Mohiniyattam practitioner or a Mohiniyattam seeker, I would say, and that I was only a seeker. And but then it was so wonderful that why not we draw upon these, and then but then we, after collecting all these important materials from the various traditions, uh, Kavalam sir and I both felt, why not we, why can't a new repertoire be created? So that is how the new repertoire was created, and it was so wonderful to work on that, because everything was so refreshing. It was so much to add on to the already existing tradition of Kerala, the of Mohiniyattam. So that was a very, very interesting journey that it continued for me for many years. And I think it was excellent opportunity given by Sangeet Natak Academy. And once the repertoire got absolutely, crystallized, that we constructed a new structure for Mohiniyattam. Kamala Devi was very insistent that she should present it at the Sangeet Natak Academy itself. So that's how it was all introduced to the Delhi audience. And later on, it was wonderful to, it was very necessary to reach out to the audience, because in Delhi, in the northern part of India, Mohiniyattam was not known at that time. It was not so popular as Kathak or Bharatanatyam. So it was necessary, and that is where I am so grateful, and I'm also very happy to have been associated with SPIC MACAY, which really gave me an opportunity to go all over the country, to the remotest places of the country, to little schools and colleges and all these educational institutions, have workshops, performances, lecture demonstrations. So that way it was very advantageous for me to propagate Mohiniyattam all over the country, I would say. So that was my long-term journey. And then my institution, Center for Mohiniyattam, was established. And in '84, it was named Kanaambalam earlier and renamed as Center for Mohiniyattam. And so we have a lot of productions we have worked on, and I'm very, very proud to have students who have, like Mani Allah Baba, and all who's been continuing with me for so many years, absolutely. And so that is how Mohiniyattam today has established itself, and that's how my journey. Well, it still continues.
Yes, yes.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Now, moving on to the second question. Teacher disciple relationship has always played a pivotal role in our rich Indian culture and heritage. Kindly enlighten us with your thoughts on the Guru Shishya Parampara.
The Guru Shishya Parampara is a tradition that has been there for many years during the ancient times. And well, in present times, I can say that my experience has been with my Bharatanatyam Guru Kelu, my Lalita Shastri of Bharatanatyam. I have literally stayed and been with her, where the student lives with the Guru and imbibes the values that, if you see where what happens is, as a dancer, it's not just the dance aspect that one inherits or one learns from the Guru. It is also the other values that go along with it. You see, particularly our Indian classical traditions, it's not something that one can learn for 1 hour and then go away, because you carry with you so many thoughts and so many values along with it. And so that's very important. And that happens only when there is close proximity with the Guru. And I think the student and the teacher have a relationship. A relationship is formed depending upon the interest and the intensity with which the student wants to learn, continue. Because what happens is, these days there are so many aspirations for the students, because there are so many interests and so many competitive. It has become very competitive. Dance is not the only thing that they want to learn. There are 100 other things that keep them busy, and so that time is not enough for the students to continue, or imbibe or absorb these the values of Indian classical dance traditions. But at the same time, there are some students who continue for years with you, because and also the teacher also the guru also becomes my experience has been that sometimes I'm a guru to some of my students, I'm a teacher to some of my students. It's not always the guru, importance is appreciated or accepted by the student, because they have they have other interests. But there are students who want to continue their dance, and then, yeah, what are the other? The art form itself has so much to offer, but only when you understand and go deeper into the dance form that one understands. Ye baat hai. The movements is not just that. The grace is not something just looking pretty on the stage. It is something behind that. It's something very internal. It's something which that has to be practiced, that has to be felt, and that has to be experienced by the human being. And so all these aspects go, and how much the student is able to absorb, and how much she gives importance to these thoughts. And so there are so many aspects. So I suggest, I feel that the Guru Shishya still continues in a different way, in a very, very different way. Because I have students who have been with me for 35, 40 years. They have been learning from me right from their childhood. And they still continue. They still continue. And also there was this beautiful dance village, the Nrityagram, which was established by
Mm.
Pratima Devi.
Pratima Bedi.
Yes,
Mm.
and so I was very happy to be invited there to teach them in the Mohiniyattam Gurukul. So it was wonderful to see that all 24 hours the Guru stayed with the students and interact. Other than dance related, so many there are queries and so many, that aspects that the student wants to know, and that is how we grew up together. The guru also grows up with the students,
Yes.
and it's more like a family, and the emotional connect is very strong there. And unfortunate that it did not continue, that Vidyagram, but the Odissi and the Gurukul and the
Yes.
Mohiniyattam Gurukul continued there. And before me was Guru Kalyani Kuti Amma, who was teaching there. And then she left and she had to go back after her husband's demise. And then I was asked to take over. It's a great, because there was no distraction of any kind. The
Mm.
small little village in Hesargata region, a few 30 kilometers from Bangalore. And the students, you would be just, they can't even run away somewhere. It's a small little village. And so they do nothing but from morning till night, it was only dance, dance, dance. And it was
Yes.
all activity dance related.
Yeah.
And so it was a wonderful experience. And I think in big cities like Delhi, for example, it still continues in a different way. In modern times, this is what is possible, not because dance alone is not the uh, only interest that the today's children have. And so it is important to kindle interest in them through dance, but at the same time, groom them the way they want it. They want it. It's not always, we cannot, be rigid with that, because it was possible in the older times, but not
Yeah. Not
now.
today.
Not today. So you have to be a friend to them, you have to be a mother to them, you have to be a colleague, you have to dance
Yeah.
with them.
Yeah.
But so
Yeah.
they just complete. But it's so wonderful that the students also understand this relationship. They also understand this relationship, and that is how it is. It still continues in our dance traditions, dance and musical traditions. Yes.
थैंक यू सो मच मैम। मैम, आपने आपके स्पिक मैके के साथ एसोसिएशन के बारे में बताया कि ये काफ़ी लंबा एसोसिएशन रहा है, तो हम आपसे रिक्वेस्ट करेंगे कि आप उस एसोसिएशन के बारे में भी हमारे साथ अपने थॉट्स शेयर करें।
SPIC MACAY has played a very important role in the propagation of Mohiniyattam. I would like to acknowledge that, because at a time when it was sometime in the 80s, early 80s, when I was trying to perform everywhere, it was not very easy for me to establish a dance form. And so it was SPIC MACAY which gave me this opportunity to go to so many small little places, small little villages, and remote places where they would never have heard of even any dance form. Forget about Mohiniyattam. And so it was very important to but then they all, the children, it was wonderful to perform and talk to the children, and that is how we started, performing for the schools and different institutions. And it was a very great experience, I would say. And to a very large extent, I think Mohiniyattam came to be known in perhaps all over the country, mainly through SPIC MACAY, I would say. It was so wonderful. Of course, there were problems because there were a lot of teething problems where, it was not, the SPIC MACAY also was struggling to propagate it and then carry the dates to the dancers, the artists along, and we would not have reservations in the trains. But it was a very, very genuine attempt to propagate our Indian classical traditions in our country. So I'm very happy and very grateful to this SPIC MACAY, and I only hope to be associated with it even now.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am. Ma'am, what is the message that you have for our young viewers?
The young viewers, I you see, there are so many in these modern times where children, particularly, have so many distractions, and classical traditions are something very, very valuable, not only to our country, but also it attracts students from abroad, for the simple reason that it has a very strong value system, we which is very inherent and which is recognized by some of these serious dancers who come from abroad, from different countries. They come in pursuit of classical dance and music, and so it attracts them. And I think the children, the students here also must be, in fact, I suggest that in schools, in both the dance, classical dance and music should be introduced, and it should be made mandatory, because the child does not know what is good for, what is the value of classical dance or music. And these classical traditions have to be introduced, like some of the schools do, where Mothers International Schools and all, they give importance to this training also. So, like that, I think all the schools must be, they must make it mandatory. So that,
Hello, I am sorry to interrupt you, ma'am. अगर पॉसिबल हो तो मैं आपसे रिक्वेस्ट करूंगा कि हिंदी में भी थोड़ा सा मैसेज शेयर करें ताकि हमारे हिंदी व्यूअर्स को भी आपकी बात पहुंच पाए।
अच्छा, तो मैं हिंदी में मैं कोशिश जरूर करूंगी।
जी, थैंक यू।
ऐसा है कि हमारे देश में जो ये कलाएं हैं, शास्त्रीय कलाएं हैं, वो उनमें तो जो एक फिलॉसफी है, जो वो बहुत ही गहरा है. It is connected to not just dance, but it is also connected to Indian our philosophy, the way of life, and the values that go along with it. तो ये सारी चीजें जो है वो हमको अलग से पढ़ने की जरूरत ही नहीं पड़ती है. जैसे कि हम जैसे एक एक स्टूडेंट छात्र यदि डांस क्लास पे आए तो पहले वो क्या करती है वो लड़की, वो आके गुरु के चरण छू के नमस्कार प्रणाम करती है और उस माइंड जो मेंटल स्टेट को एस्टैब्लिश हो जाता है कि ह्यूमिलिटी बहुत इम्पोर्टेंट है. हम अभी जो सीखने जा रहे हैं वो एक बहुत शी इज वेरी एक्सपीरियंस, वेरी मैच्योर. वो ज्ञान हमको देने वाली है. तो हम कुछ नहीं जानते हैं. आई एम इग्नोरेंट बट आई वांट टू लर्न फ्रॉम यू. And so that she comes to learn. And so that humility, it prepares already. So that's so important. It's very, very important because आजकल कुछ बच्चे ना जो बहुत ही अपने आप को, because they are not directed, they are not guided. So this automatically guides a child to learn and to be humble. To learn to be humble is very important. That way it begins the whole these qualities of human qualities are inherent in our classical traditions. So that is how she, I think, because otherwise ये जो वैल्यूज होते हैं, ह्यूमन वैल्यूज, वो तो हम खो जाएंगे. वो सिर्फ हमारे क्लासिकल ट्रेडिशंस में ही है. और वो गुरु की जो भक्ति है, even if they become very famous dancers, very famous artists, वो गुरु के साथ उनका कनेक्ट हमेशा रहता है, which means they are still in humility, that they are aware of that humility. It's so important, I think. It's very, very.
थैंक यू मैम. मैम, आपने बताया कि आप इंस्टीट्यूशंस के थ्रू और स्पिक मेके के थ्रू आपने मोहिनीअट्टम का किस तरह से प्रचार और प्रसार किया है. मैं आपसे रिक्वेस्ट करूंगा कि मोहिनीअट्टम के ओरिजिन के बारे में भी हमें बताएं.
मोहिनीअट्टम केरला में ही उसका ओरिजिन हुआ है. And it originated in Kerala for many centuries, but it was resurrected, it was revived during Maharaja's Parikirunal period, because उन दिनों में राजाओं महाराजाओं बहुत बड़े पेट्रन्स थे आर्ट के. क्लासिकल ट्रेडिशंस के बहुत बड़े वो लोग पेट्रन्स थे जो सपोर्ट किए इसको एंड अपने दरबार में या अपने ही राज्य में. तो दैट वे मोहिनीअट्टम वाज राइट महाराजा Parikirunal. He was a great musician, he was a great philosopher, he was a great administrator, and above all he was a great patron of arts. So he patronized Mohiniyattam, and that is how it's continued. But unfortunately, he died at the very young age of 32.
Okay.
So there was no support for this dance form, and it again sort of languished. वो ज़्यादा मतलब उसको कोई support नहीं मिला. तो उसके बाद in the early 20th century, in 1935 or 1936, it was again revived by Mahakavi Vallatol Narayanam, who was a very great Kavi and a great visionary who wanted to revive all the Kerala, the dance traditions of Kerala. And so that is how we established the Kerala Kala Mandalam in 1930, the early 20th century. And he, along with Mukunda Raja, the Maharaja of Cochin, they both got together and they established this institution to revive all the dance drama traditions and all the rich popular traditions which were almost had no support and no institutional support. It was very important that Mohiniyattam also was given that institutional support and patronage and by Mahakavi Vallatod, and he also contributed to its repertoire like Maharaja Swadhi. And so it is a premier institution which now is a deemed university now and supported by the government of Kerala. And students from all over the world come to learn uh, all the dance forms that are taught there.
थैंक यू मैम। मैम मैं आपसे रिक्वेस्ट करूंगा कि हमें सेंटर फॉर मोहिनी अट्टम के बारे में बताएं और जो दो बुक्स हैं आर्ट ऑफ मोहिनी अट्टम एंड मोहिनी अट्टम उसके बारे में भी हमें बताएं।
मोहिनीअट्टम में पहली किताब मेरी गॉट पब्लिश्ड इन 1986 एंड वो उसमें my whole perspective of Mohiniyattam has been compiled. जैसे कि as an outsider, as a traveler, हम केरला को देखते ही हमें क्या मतलब अट्रैक्ट होता है कि कैसे मोहिनीअट्टम जैसे एक आर्ट फॉर्म इस देश में मतलब इस प्रांत में कैसे वो उत्पन्न हुआ, all that curiosity. तो I have covered all those aspects is पहली किताब में. And the second it was published in 86, and the art of Mohiniyattam was the name of this dance form and the name of this book. And then it came, the second book was just on Mohiniyattam, and it was co-authored by my daughter Vijay Lakshmi. I mean, she's also Mohiniyattam. And so both of us got together and we did a small little pocket book kind of a thing. And my first book was published by Lancer International, and the second book was by Wisdom Tree. Wisdom Tree had done it. And then my third book has just been released at the Kerala Kala Mandalam on the 6th of March this year. And this book gives a complete, not only the background, but also the future of Mohiniyattam that I have tried to deal with. And so उसमें सारी जो भी possibilities हैं, जो भी उसके हम पैरेलल क्या देख सकते हैं मोहिनीअट्टम के एस्पेक्ट्स को लेकर, बाकी जो डांस फॉर्म है जैसे मैंने कहा पहले कि वो रिचुअलिस्टिक डांस फॉर्म है, वो क्लासिकल डांस ड्रामा ट्रेडिशंस हैं उनके, या रिचुअलिस्टिक मतलब जो रिचुअलिस्टिक हैं, जो रिक्रिएशनल है, बहुत सारे किस्म के उनके जो डांस फॉर्म है, उसमें से हम क्या क्या हम इंस्पायर करके इसको हम और भी एनरिच कर सकते हैं. पॉसिबिलिटीज बहुत है एंड दे आर ऑल क्लासिकल बेस्ड. सो उसमें से तो मुझे लगा कि इट्स वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट फॉर द फ्यूचर स्टूडेंट्स ऑफ मोहिनीअट्टम to look at Mohiniyattam in that perspective. So at a holistic level, not just in isolation in dance only. So that's been my attempt, and it is Mohiniyattam is art and aesthetics. This has been the name of the book is that, and this book has been published by Shubhit Publications. Ji.
Thank you, ma'am. So, ma'am, as you mentioned, your daughter Srimati Vijay Lakshmi ji is also an acclaimed exponent of Mohiniyattam. The documentary Beyond Grace captures the work of both of your exquisite combination. Kindly throw some light on the same.
Beyond Grace, actually, it just happened. I don't know. We were not prepared for it. When I had to go to US, where she is now settled, uh, 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 she had a Mohiniyattam student who was very, very happy to learn this dance form. And so she's a filmmaker, and so it was so interesting. So she wanted to see the mother daughter, the guru shishya, or however you call it, to how both of us have been so working for so long, and but two different personalities. While I wanted to strengthen and establish the tradition of Mohiniyattam, she was wanting to do more of deal with uh, tradition in a contemporary way. So she was very keen to come out with her own product, her choreographic compositions. And so this actually interested this lady, and so she came down to India to make a documentary film. And also, this film has also portrays a dancer's life behind the stage. It's not just on the stage, but you know
Yeah,
what?
yeah.
Life is so important. So that she just took those kind of captured those little scenes where Vijay Lakshmi had to make a trip to Delhi, and she missed her flight because she got confused, and all those things, those little anxieties and problems and the tensions and that go along with our dance. And so that she had just captured all that. And then she came and she just said she wanted to make a film. And I didn't take it seriously. And soon after I landed in Delhi, she within a week's time she also landed, and I was not prepared for it at all. So that was the whole thing that she has. And then she traveled with me to performances in Chennai where I performed at the Krishna Gandhi Sabha, and then she filmed there, and the audience, the people, and then when we go to Kerala and we met some of the great gurus there, and I mean the historians, people, all these senior scholars who have helped me a lot, with whom I interacted, and so all those things she has completely filmed, and she made it into a film called premiered at Hollywood Raleigh Theatre. So she wanted to screen it there at the Raleigh Theatre. So that was a great experience and a wonderful experience to,
Mm.
yes, to say at least to the audience there who got to see what Mohiniyattam is. What is the life of a Mohiniyattam
Yeah,
dancer,
yeah.
of a
Dance.
Mohiniyattam artist? So that was the struggle and all the anxieties and all the problems that the 2 hours that the audience sees on the stage is not that. That's not the reality. The reality
Okay.
is behind the stage.
Yeah, yeah.
All that very in a sensitive way she has filmed the whole thing. And so it was a nice experience, a little embarrassing for me, but I just But that speaker has their own. So that's how it happened.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Now we are moving towards the concluding phase of this wonderful session, and we have one last question from our side. So, ma'am, in today's era of internet and social media, where there is so much of information, yet a lack of depth and of thoughts and ideas. So, we would like to know how important is art's role as a form of expression and thought provocation.
See, I strongly feel that the children or the children of today should not be, they will remain misguided if we do not uh, inspire them with and remind them of our tradition. It's very important because Western culture is all right. There are certain aspects which we must, borrow from them, but not the whole value system. You see, and we are so fortunate to be born in a country like India with these rich traditions which are already being there, passed on from generation to generation. And I think it's very important that the responsibility still lies with the older generation and the present generation to be aware of that. And I think if that is how we have to keep uh, reminding the present, the younger generation, coming younger generation, that this is something which is not to be poo-pooed or something to be dismissed of, ignored. If you
Yeah.
cannot do it, you cannot ignore it because they are all so interconnected with our life, with our what you see. A dance is not just, as I told you, because the humility is only one aspect, one part of the whole grooming that a child learns. But it's very important that it's the values that go along with they must be aware, they have to be made to be aware, and at a very young age, as I said earlier, mentioned that
Yeah.
in schools and other institutions, educational institutions, it should be introduced and mandate. That is how the child will learn. Otherwise, it's very difficult with so many distractions all around.
Yes.
Children do not know what is good for them. And
Yes.
so it's our responsibility to teach them this. I think it's very, very necessary. And it's a very serious thought that, we have to be, first, the elders have to be aware of this. It's important that before the children go, unaware of our traditions, we have to keep reminding them through all this, and it's so important to that the responsibility lies with us.
Thank you so much, ma'am. I would request Sharmada ma'am to please take over now.
We have. Uh, Hello.
Yes, now I can hear.
Adarsh, can you hear me?
Yes,
Yes.
ma'am.
Okay, I was asking if we have some time left. I can ask ma'am a question. Hello.
Yes, yes, ma'am.
Uh, yeah, I was asking you if we have enough time left. I can ask
Yeah,
ma'am a question.
we can have one last question,
Yeah.
ma'am.
Yeah, ma'am, I was asking you that you explained how you have learned Odissi and you were a Bharatanatyam student and Odissi music you learned and then you went ahead to Mohiniyattam. Can you tell your experience about how it helped you or what are the similarities between these diverse art forms of different parts of our country, and how it has helped you or it has enriched you?
Uh, I would say that, of course, the discipline part of it that one learns. My mother was a disciplinarian, and she was very strict about the music practice and the dance practice, waking me up at 5:30 in the morning. That there was absolutely no holiday for me. After which we had to go to school, all that regimental, routine that
Yeah,
I used to have. And so that way, Bharatanatyam had a certain very strong discipline about it. And that
yeah,
really enabled me to look at life also, very seriously. And the Odissi was another art form which gave me an opportunity to see it grow. At that time, it was just being resurrected, reconstructed by gurus
mm,
like Mahendra Rao and Guru Kelucharan Mahapadra, Guru
mm,
Pankaj Das, and there are so many other, and
yeah,
the music also, when I was singing for some of that also helped me to look at Mohiniyattam when it came to Mohiniyattam very differently. And
okay,
I felt so that I must acknowledge the fact that Bharatanatyam and Odissi enabled me to look at Mohiniyattam very, very objectively, and what are the areas that can be enriched, and what can. And so it was during this time that my whole body, when you practice it, when you experience it with your whole body, then that is where you know that a movement in Mohiniyattam, you cannot just do it like any other style. It has to come from within. It's very inherent. It's very
mm,
inherent. So unless the body movement has, unless the whole, you give yourself to a movement, that is how it, only then it will look graceful. You can't just do this,
right,
you can't fake it. You can't fake
mm,
it. You
yeah,
have to feel it.
yeah,
So that internal, and so that powerful is a movement in Mohiniyattam. You have to feel it to make it look graceful.
yeah,
It's
yeah,
not just look pretty. It's not that.
yeah,
So,
yeah,
and so what happens? It also influences you in your real life, and
mm-hmm,
so unless you are soft, unless you give in, it will not. So that's where comes humility. That's where comes grace, and the actual meaning of grace is understood by your own experience, and the
mm,
level of your involvement with the dance form. Every individual doesn't have the same involvement, you see. So that deep involvement, it depends upon how deeply you are involved with the dance form. So
yeah,
that's what it teaches you. And so then you evolve along with the dance form, along with the dance. So that
yeah,
is what it has such a tremendous influence on your body and mind
yeah,
both.
yes, yes, yes,
Yeah. So it's a very, very and it's very spiritual. It's very spiritual.
I'm sure. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you very much.
Thank
Uh, Actually, it has been so enriching and so knowledgeable hearing you, and you have explained it so well. I'm sure all the viewers, all the young students who are hearing you right now, they have learned a lot from your journey and your experiences. I thank you from the bottom of my heart, and I also thank Adarsh for putting up such a nice and inquiring questions. And thank you a lot, ma'am. Namaskar.
you.
Namaskar for being part
Do
of
we
it.
still have time? No.
Uh,
Do,
yes, ma'am, if you want to say something.
I would like my disciple Bani Balla Pawa, who's
Uh-huh.
also here. So
Yeah,
she,
yes.
so I think she's a dancer of today, the present generation. And I want you to please listen to her experience.
Okay, Bani, can you say a few words?
Yes, namaskar. Can you hear me, all of you?
I can
Yes.
hear you, but
I
I
will
can't.
actually be
Yeah.
very brief because my guru has already explained it so beautifully. उन्होंने इतने विस्तार में इतना deep concept बताया है, and
Yeah.
what she has said is what I have learned from her. When गुरु शिष्य परंपरा उन्होंने जैसे बोला कि अब हम एक आश्रम में या एक माहौल के अंदर नहीं रहते हैं, लेकिन आज के टाइम को देखते हुए भी जितना क्लोज रिलेशनशिप हो सकता है उतना ही मेरा गुरु के साथ रहा है, क्योंकि उन्होंने इतना दिल खोल के दिया है. एंड सिर्फ डांस को ही नहीं, her philosophy is now to such a great extent to my philosophy that to learn physical movements. You can learn and being there's no scope to cheat with the movement or with the feeling. So you have to surrender yourself. And when you surrender to the style, before that, you first surrender to the guru. And it's been a very beautiful learning for me, continues to be. Whatever I do in my life, whatever I do as my second profession,
Yeah.
this learning is rock solid foundation for me. And it is always from here that I tap and I extract and I apply everywhere. And this well never dries up. And that is the beauty of our classical styles. It is endless. And I am, what can I say? This learning that she has shared with you, we live that learning with her. So yes, we are the privileged ones, I would say, and we're very blessed.
That was so nice, Bani. It was nice hearing from you the experiences you have with your guru. And I once again thank Bharti ji and Vani and others. Namaskar.
Namaskar. Thank you for inviting me. Thanks.
Thank you, ma'am.